Once belting satire on that was the week that was. Now 92. Millicent Martin brings quiet elegance to guest roles and audiobook narration. Her silver pixie cut and measured voice embody a performer who's evolved with poise, still offering wit shaped by decades in British and American stages. Like a couture gown stitched from legacy, Joan Collins at 92 still dazzles in public appearances, her Dynasty-era fire undimmed. Now a best-selling author and cultural commentator, she embodies the glamour of studio-era stardom fused with today's sharp social media presence. At 93, she walks the stage not as ingenue, but as elder stateswoman, teaching, mentoring, and occasionally performing. Best known for General Hospital and classic westerns, Constance Towers remains a sculpted presence, her grace reflecting the refinement of old Hollywood training. "Please, sir, I want some more," a line immortalized by Shunny Wallace and Oliver. Still radiant at 93, she now lent her voice to musical theater education. Her auburn hair now silver, she remains a symbol of West End's golden bridge to Hollywood's musical heyday. Once a trailblazer in sketch comedy, now a serene force of grace, Carol Burnett, 92, appears less often on screen but mentors rising comedians and voices audiobooks. Her signature laugh echoes in modern humor, a reminder that true brilliance evolves but never fades. Like a London fog that never lifts, Michael Caine's voice still drifts through modern cinema. Now 92, retired from acting but active in storytelling. From Alfie to Alfred, he shaped British cool for decades, and today, his memoirs guide new artists through changing tides. Would you believe she's 92? Barbara Feldon, once the poised and brilliant Agent 99, now writes quietly in New York, reflecting on a time when women in comedy had to fight for every frame. Her elegance remains intact, silver bob, poised voice, and fierce clarity. She once haunted dreams in Vertigo. Today at 92, Kim Novak paints in seclusion, her canvases just as layered as her legacy. With her golden mane now silver and unbrushed by fame's spotlight, she reminds us that retreat can be a final act of self-possession. Like a novel weathered by time yet rich with meaning, and Furbank turns 100 with a legacy inked in Shakespearean grace. From Sense and Sensibility to late-career art house cameos, she's traded youthful allure for a dignified stillness, a presence now quiet but profoundly enduring. From The Exorcist to Requiem for a Dream, Ellen Burstyn once tore through emotional extremes. Now at 92, she teaches acting with the same raw truth. White-haired and clear-eyed, she bridges old Hollywood intensity with today's introspective realism, still shaping modern performance. Before we continue these amazing celebrity transformations, here's a quick challenge for you. Can you subscribe to Then vs. Now Legends in the next 5 seconds? Smash that subscribe button and join us on this journey through time with your favorite stars. Downtown once echoed from radios worldwide. Now, at 92, Petula Clark performs intimate concerts and records with hushed maturity. Her voice, softened but unmistakable, reminds us how pop can evolve with grace, still singing, still storytelling, a melodic thread from swinging London to now. Once an NFL powerhouse and singer-actor, Roosevelt Grier, now 93, is revered as a civil rights advocate and spiritual counselor. His booming presence mellowed but never dimmed, he embodies a rare fusion, gridiron grit, Hollywood charm, and enduring purpose in public life. She once danced across Broadway in West Side Story. Now at 92, Carol Lawrence mentors young performers with the same fire that lit her Tony-nominated rise. With silver streak hair and a graceful gait, she embodies a stage legacy that still pulses beneath the footlights. Still striking at 92, Neil Adams, once the effervescent star of 1950s musicals and Steve McQueen's muse, now champions arts education and Filipino heritage. Her bold red lipstick and fierce advocacy reflect a lifetime of breaking molds and refusing quiet fade-outs. Best remembered as Sybil in Fawlty Towers' Prunella Scales, now 92, steps back from public view due to Alzheimer's, but her legacy endures in every clipped comeback. Her sharp comedic rhythm reshaped British sitcoms and still guides writers crafting strong women. He's been Ken Barlow since 1960. William Roach, now 93, remains a steady figure on Coronation Street. With dignified posture and a soft Yorkshire cadence, he outlived studio systems and cast cycles alike, offering continuity in a world built on constant change. From shirtless strongman on mission, impossible to fitness advocate at 90, Peter Lupus remains sculpted by discipline. His towering frame has softened, but his resolve hasn't. Still mentoring bodybuilders, he stands as a symbol of Hollywood's action era and its commitment to physical storytelling. Once half of a razor-sharp comedy duo, now 93, Elaine May writes and directs with the precision of a scalpel. Her tangled curls now white, her wit ever barbed, she remains a quiet force behind a camera, proving timing and truth age only in nuance, not relevance. A spotlight flickered, Joel Grey's MC in Cabaret emerged, unforgettable. Now 93, he directs and supports LGBTQ+ theater with fierce joy. Compact in frame but vast in impact, he remains a fixture of Broadway's evolution, still dressed in metaphor, still dancing between light and shadow. Often beside her daughter Emma Thompson on screen, Phillida Law, 93, now writes memoirs and appears in quiet roles. Her once crisp diction now floats with warmth, her silver hair often crowned with whimsy, proof that nurturing talent can be a legacy as rich as any headline. From the roar of Jaws to the wonder of E.T., John Williams scored our collective imagination. Now 93, he still conducts select concerts, white-haired and clear-eyed. In an era of algorithms, his symphonic storytelling remains a gold standard, felt before it's heard. Like a Bergman close-up, Harriet Andersson's performances remain etched in cinematic memory. At 93, she lives quietly in Sweden, her career a masterclass in emotional truth. Time softened her features, but not the imprint of her raw, vulnerable power on global cinema. Once the man who discovered icons, Clive Davis at 93 still curates soundtracks for the soul. With tailored suits and silver hair, he advises streaming-era artists with old-school ears and visionary instincts, bridging Motown vinyl to TikTok virality without missing a beat. He once brought laughs as Felipe on Three's Company. Now at 89, Gino Conforti teaches scene study in Los Angeles. His salt and pepper curls and warm smile recall TV's golden age, while his students carry his timing and craft into a future he helped define. Hey you guys, and West Side Story once made her a firecracker. At 93, Rita Moreno still sparks on screen, recently appearing in 80 for Brady. With regal posture and silver curls, she remains a fierce advocate for representation, bridging classic Hollywood and today's call for equity. Once the steely-eyed Cinnamon Carter on Mission Impossible, Barbara Bain at 93 now curates art and supports lay theater. With luminous white hair and graceful bearing, she embodies an era when brains met beauty on screen, and off-screen, she mentors the next wave with quiet power. On Broadway, she played eccentrics with piercing charm. Now 94, Mary Louise Wilson still appears in character roles and teaches master classes. Her voice carries the rhythm of seasoned theater, her face a living archive of American stage history that continues to unfold with purpose. Once the cool stride of policewoman, now 94, Angie Dickinson lives privately but remains a touchstone for strong female leads. Her blonde waves have softened into silver, but her screen legacy endures. She opened doors for a generation of women in primetime drama. She once blinked and made magic. Now at 93, Barbara Eden attends fan expos, her blonde bouffant swapped for a soft silver bob. Best known as Jeannie, she remains a pop culture beacon, bridging TV kitsch and feminist curiosity with grace, wit, and enduring sparkle. From the time tunnel to timeless grace, Robert Colbert, now 93, reflects quietly on a career forged in the heyday of sci-fi. His once matinee looks now softened by time. He occasionally appears at retrospectives, offering fans a glimpse into TV's earnest frontier. Like a ballerina frozen mid-pirouette, Leslie Caron at 94 moves slower, but her legacy leaps. The Gigi star now supports European arts, her refined posture and snowy hair a portrait of endurance. From MGM sets to art house acclaim, her dual identity still inspires. He once barked slacker, with unforgettable force. Now at 93, James Tolkan enjoys retirement, occasionally lending his gravel voice to indie projects. Bald and unbothered, he remains a cult favorite, proving that supporting roles can punch loud and age even louder. Once Captain Kirk in a universe of stars, now 94, William Shatner became one, literally, traveling to space at 90. His speech slower, hair whiter, but curiosity undimmed, he bridges sci-fi fantasy and real-life exploration, proving that bold journeys don't end, they just shift direction. From Barney Miller to Breaking Away, Barbara Barry's warmth once lit supporting roles. Now 94, she writes children's books and reflects on aging in public talks. Her auburn hair silvered, her voice soft but sure, she remains a gentle witness to Hollywood's evolving humanity. Clarinet in hand or badge on screen, Hal Linden brought melody to Barney Miller and musicals alike. At 94, he still performs in concerts and narrations, his voice deepened but agile. He stands not as nostalgia but as rhythm personified, timing, tone, and a touch of jazz. Not an actor, but a media mogul whose empire reshaped Hollywood's business spine, Rupert Murdoch, now 94, recently stepped down from top roles. With snow-white hair and piercing gaze, he remains a potent symbol of power's endurance in an industry shaped as much off-camera as on. He once haunted screens as Uncle Junior. Now at 94, Dominic Chianese plays folk songs in nursing homes, his voice softened but spirit undimmed. With his lined face and ever-thoughtful gaze, he bridges generations of actors, reminding us that art never retires, it deepens. Once the face of Shakespeare on screen, Claire Bloom at 94 resides in quiet dignity, her regal bearings still intact. With silver-swept hair and sharp eyes, she's a living archive of theatrical grace, having brought intelligence and emotional force to every syllable. She rivaled Monroe in bombshell bravado. Now at 94, Mamie Van Doren posts selfies in leather jackets, her platinum hair unyielding. More than a pin-up, she's a survivor of the studio system's gloss and control, rewriting her image one rebellious Instagram at a time. He once whispered that napalm smelled like victory. Today, at 94, Robert Duvall tends his Virginia farm and occasionally appears in indie films. His weathered face and quiet intensity still command attention, proof that depth doesn't fade, it just settles deeper. Though not a performer, Warren Buffett, 94, shaped Hollywood through media holdings and cultural sway. Still speaking at shareholder events, his thinning hair and calm cadence convey wisdom over spectacle, reminding us that storytelling power often lies behind the scenes, shaping what the world watches. Like an old oil painting, Armin Mueller-Stahl's presence deepens with age, layered, complex, enduring. Now 94, the Shine Star paints, writes, and occasionally appears in German cinema. His posture is slower, voice more graveled, but the quiet gravitas that defined him still holds fierce clarity. A constant in cinema's quiet corners, Lois Smith, 94, still appears in indie gems like The French Dispatch. Her silver curls frame eyes that see everything, feel everything. Her shift from supporting player to revered matriarch reflects how depth, not volume, defines lasting screen power. He once voiced Little Beaver on radio. Now at 95, Tommy Cook is one of Hollywood's last links to the golden age of serials. Though rarely seen on screen today, he mentors young voice actors, his cadence steady, a living archive of storytelling before television took hold. Once the voice of Skeletor, now 95, Alan Oppenheimer lends warmth to animation panels and podcasts, his once commanding growl mellowed but unmistakable. With crisp suits and gentle humor, he reminds fans that voice work is eternal. Its echoes never age, just deepen. He once snapped and grinned as Gomez Addams. Today at 95, John Astin lives in Baltimore, reflecting on decades of teaching and theater. His arched brow and impish charm remain, even as his steps slow. To his students, he's not just a character actor, he's a compass. An Oscar winner and fierce intellect, Joanne Woodward, now 95, lives privately while facing Alzheimer's. Yet her legacy, both on screen and in philanthropy, endures. Once half of Hollywood's golden couple, she now symbolizes the quiet resilience behind lasting art. With a charm that once defined suave, Robert Wagner at 95 makes rare appearances, his silver hair neatly combed, voice slower but sure. From Heart to Memoirs, he's navigated scandal, stardom, and reinvention, proof that screen presence can age with dignity. Once sprinting from Hitchcock's Birds, now 95, Tippi Hedren tends to rescue big cats on her wildlife preserve. Her platinum hair swept back, her poise unchanged, she embodies a rare metamorphosis, from icy screen siren to fierce animal rights advocate, proving grace can roar. His voice once whispered conspiracy as Deep Throat on The X-Files. At 92, Jerry Hardin lives quietly but remains a favorite at fan events. His gentle drawl and kind eyes now reflect not secrecy, but storytelling wisdom shaped by decades in Hollywood's shifting shadows. At 95, Fernanda Montenegro is Brazil's cinematic conscience, once Oscar-nominated for Central Station, now a revered stage figure. Her features weathered yet commanding, she continues to act and inspire, bridging global cinema with Latin American soul in every measured, magnetic word she speaks. From silent standoffs to whisper direction, Clint Eastwood, 95, still shapes cinema behind the lens. His voice gravelly, frame leaner, he works selectively. His legacy forged in steel and silence, now mellowed into reflective authorship that spans genres, generations, and the myth of masculinity. She won an Emmy alongside her husband on Saint Elsewhere. Now at 96, Bonnie Bartlett still attends acting panels, her posture proud, her eyes alight with memory. With snowy curls and quiet precision, she speaks a time when women had to fight twice as hard for half the roles. He once delivered Shakespeare with thunderous clarity. Now 99, John Woodvine lives in Wales, his voice softer, but diction still impeccable. A stalwart of British theatre and film, he spans eras from repertory stages to streaming archives, where his gravitas still echoes. She once outran Martians in War of the Worlds, at 96, and Robinson embraces fan events with vintage flair, red lips, retro curls, and radiant energy. Though time has curved her spine, not her charisma, she remains a beacon for sci-fi lovers and mid-century dreamers. A mentor to Hoffman and De Niro, Alan Miller at 99 continues to teach online workshops, his voice gravelly but sharp. His memory holds the DNA of New York's acting boom, where sweat, instinct, and truth mattered more than celebrity, less flash, more fire. Once a character actor in hundreds of roles, now 96, James Hong is finally celebrated for the range he's always had. From Big Trouble in Little China to Everything Everywhere All at Once, he bridges eras with comedic timing and cultural pride that's only grown sharper. From Broadway stages to The Sopranos, Jerry Adler, now 93, remains a sharp observer of character and craft. Though his gait has slowed, his timing hasn't. He still appears in television cameos. His Brooklyn cadence is a steady reminder that subtle strength can outlast the spotlight. Once swam beside Mighty Joe Young, now 96, Terry Moore walks Hollywood memory lanes with red lipstick and unshakable charm. A former Oscar nominee, she now attends festivals and speaks to film students, living proof that a star's glow can evolve without ever going out. Mrs. C taught a generation how to parent with warmth. At 97, Marion Ross brings that same grace to public readings and nostalgic reunions. Her auburn curls now silver, her smile still wide, she remains a beacon of television's golden warmth in an era seeking heart. She once stunned audiences as Veda in Mildred Pierce. Now at 98, and Blythe lives quietly, her soprano voice now a soft hum in old Hollywood lore. With neatly pinned curls and a gentle poise, she remains a symbol of post-war elegance when stardom meant stagecraft. She played Betty in Sunset Boulevard, anchoring noir with warmth. Now 97, Nancy Olson writes about those golden days, her memories sharp beneath soft white curls. Once the ingenue to aging stars, she's now the historian of an era that shaped fame as we know it. At 98, James Ivory still edits quietly in the Oregon Light, his frame frail but mind luminous. The director of A Room with a View and Maurice, he brought subtlety to the screen when excess ruled. His late career Oscar proved quiet vision doesn't age, it endures. He was the affable dad in 16 Candles. Now 96, Paul Dooley records voice work from home, his delivery still razor-timed. With wireframe glasses and a wry smile, he bridges sitcoms, stage, and sketch, craftsman whose gentle presence still shapes comic tone. Like fine theater upholstery, Rosemary Harris carries tradition in every gesture. At 97, the Tom and Viv star occasionally appears on stage and screen, most recently as Aunt May in Spider-Man. Her diction remains crisp, her legacy woven into Broadway's very fabric. From Oscar glory in Bonnie and Clyde to sharp-tongued wisdom on Roseanne, Estelle Parsons, now 97, still directs off-Broadway. Her white hair frays like brushstrokes, her voice still cuts with precision, proof that character work, like truth, only sharpens with age. Feeney to millennials, 1,770 SAXS Adams to boomers, William Daniels at 98 remains a mentor figure across generations. His voice is softer, eyes a little slower, but his impact resonates. A steady compass in decades of shifting screens, still treasured for his principled clarity. He once played villains on black and white TV. Now 98, H.M. Winnett reflects quietly on a career etched into early Hollywood thrillers. Occasionally attending retrospectives, his sharp jaw now softened. He reminds audiences of a time when menace came with class and clipped diction. He once turned satire into box office gold. Now at 99, Mel Brooks still writes with wicked precision. With thick glasses and a sharper wit, he remains a compass for comedy in a world he helped reshape. From Blazing Saddles to Broadway, his legacy laughs last and loudest. She once played tearful daughters in 1930s classics. Now 99, Marilyn Nolden lives quietly, one of the last stars of Hollywood's studio dawn. With a silvery bob and gentle speech, she recalls working with legends before fame became fleeting. Her memories outshine reels. At 99, David Attenborough's voice still blankets the earth in reverent wonder. Once trekking jungles, now narrating from studios, his silver-toned awe defines generations of nature storytelling. While ecosystems change, his message holds, urgent, wise, and unwavering. The mustache is thinner, but the wordplay remains. Jean Shalit, 99, rarely appears publicly but continues to pen puns in private. Once the face of TV film criticism, his quirky cadence and rainbow ties made reviews an art form. Today, he's a relic and a rule breaker. Like a seasoned voice etched in celluloid, David Frankham, once the velvet menace of classic thrillers, still resonates. At 99, with silver hair and a deliberate gait, he shares film lore and podcasts, reminding cinephiles that even as the frames fade, the story's soul remains sharp. At 99, Dick Van Dyke still dances, less for show, more for spirit. Known for Mary Poppins and sitcom mastery, his wit remains nimble, his posture upright. He recently surprised fans in a musical cameo, proving that Hollywood's charm hasn't aged. It simply sings a slower tempo. Her shampoo role stirred a generation's conscience. At 98, Oscar winner Lee Grant writes, lectures, and champions women's voices in film. With stark white hair and piercing clarity, she endures not as a relic, but as a reckoning, her story outlasting every studio trend she outlived. Once America's favorite TV mother, June Lockhart now offers quiet grace at 100. Her elegance has softened, but her influence hasn't. From Lassie to Lost in Space, she shaped ideals of strength. Now, she inspires through centenarian interviews, living memory of TV's moral compass. Like a sunbeam caught in vintage film, Bridget O'Bare, Hitchcock's elegant enigma in To Catch a Thief still shimmers in memory. At 101, her stride has slowed, her voice softened, yet she remains a revered guest at retrospectives, a bridge from post-war cinema to modern visionaries. Born into Marlene Dietrich's glow, Maria Riva once dazzled live television with fierce candor. Now 100, with luminous white hair and thoughtful pause, she pens reflections on art and legacy, no longer in the limelight, but shaping it still, reminding us who built the stage beneath it. She clutched Cary Grant's hand on a cinematic cliff, North by Northwest sealed her into film history. At 101, Eva Marie Saint's elegance endures. She lends her voice to documentaries, mentoring quietly, proof that the grace of old Hollywood hasn't vanished, it's simply grown wiser. At 100, Jacqueline White attends classic film panels in pearls and soft pastels, her voice steady with memory. Known for the narrow margin, she once stood amid noir shadows. Now she illuminates them for new audiences, proving even Hollywood's quiet stars leave lasting echoes. Like a trumpet that refuses to rust, Ray Anthony, big band maestro and movie cameo regular, still hums with rhythm at 103. His swing once scored America's golden years. Now, with silver brows and steady hands, he supports music education, keeping jazz's pulse alive in younger hearts. Then versus Now Legends is feeling a bit lonely. 99% of you haven't subscribed yet. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you the jaw-dropping journeys of your favorite stars. And if you're as fascinated by then and now glow-ups as we are, check out our previous videos. Trust us, they're totally worth your time and ours too.